Hi, and welcome to The Wonders I've Seen, where there's no such thing as weird or normal, there's just different. I'm your host, Tanagra, and today we're going to be talking about a Christmas Prince trilogy. Imagine the mountains of Romania, stock footage of New York and Chicago mixed together, and a magical world where the government prioritizes reproductive health. Seriously, like the third film got real progressive on that. So grab your liquid nourishment, sit back, and enjoy the wonders.
I have never desired your good opinion.
People fear what they do not understand.
I have a headache, a badge, and a gun.
Power is yours.
Behave.
I was just trying to start a conversation.
And share the wonders I've seen.
My liquid nourishment for the day is a milk chocolate cocoa bomb. It was a Christmas present, and I opened it early to make sure it wasn't damaged during the delivery, as you should do. All right, you might hear some wind and some high-pitched noises. Those are the sounds of a New York apartment in the winter. It's called the heater. Just take it as a real-life ambiance. All right, so this week, since we're talking Netflix royalty, I will try to avoid all the F-bombs that I dropped last week during my happiest season rant/review. In all honesty, these films do not enrage me the way that movie did, so I don't think it'll be much of an issue to be more proper and regal discussing the Aldoviaverse. So we all know the story of Aldovia by now. It's been several years, 3, 4, since we've been watching these films. Journalist Amber travels to Aldovia to cover the story of Playboy Prince Richard and whether or not he'll abdicate the throne or become king of Aldovia. To do so, she poses as the American tutor of Princess Emily. Princess Emily discovers her but says, "I won't out you if you promise to write an honest story about my brother." And the process of finding out just how great and honest Prince Richard is, they fall in love. No surprise, it's mutual. They end up getting married. The first movie is about them falling in love. The second film is about their wedding, a royal wedding. And the third is set a year afterwards, and it's about their first child, and Amber is pregnant. Now, through each one of these films, the world of Aldovia is expanded, which is why I call it the Aldoviaverse. We first get to see the Aldoviaverse expanded in a Princess Switch, which I talked about. It was the first episode this season, and then we see it further expanded with the country of Penglia in the third film. But I'm not going to talk about any of that in all honesty. While I do appreciate the diversity that is coming up in the films and how Netflix, this being their hallmark film and trilogy, they do seem to be trying to make it more diverse and more progressive. I actually want to talk about predictions for the fourth film. That's right. It is no longer a trilogy, but rather a quadrilogy. The Aldoviaverse continues to grow. So what will it be about? Will it be about the wedding of Simon, our previous villain in the first film, but then later the rehabilitated Duke and soon to be in-law because he's marrying Melissa, Queen Amber's best friend? Or will it be about Princess Emily? They've now had her with the same boyfriend for the second and third film, and the actress herself is definitely a teenager. And so maybe they're going to start doing, talking about that. Maybe we'll go to Panglia and see more of King Tai and Queen Ming. They do have 3 children. I would love to see another part of the Aldoviaverse. I don't know if Netflix's budget allows for it. But where do we think it'll go? Now, I'm open to all of these stories. I'm open to going to Panglia. I'm open to seeing Melissa and Simon as they take on the roles of Duke and Duchess. I'm open to watching Princess Emily as she discovers what she wants to do as royalty, yet somebody who can never take on the throne. I would maybe be open to the story of Queen Amber and Prince Richard as they try to get used to their lives as royals with children. I don't know how that would work, though, because there was a lot of talk that Amber was actually supposed to mirror Meghan Markle. And they don't really do that royal thing anymore, Markle and Harry. So I don't really know how that would work out for Amber and Richard mirroring them, but maybe. So of these 4 possible storylines, the one that I really want to focus on is Princess Emily. And that's due to the fact that Princess Emily is actually a disabled character and the only disabled character that we've met so far in the Aldoviaverse. That means that she is also the only representation for an entire underrepresented group in the Aldoviaverse. Now, that's problematic in of itself, similar to the lack of representation for POC prior to the third film in this universe. But what's more problematic is the fact that Princess Emily is played by the actress Honor Gnifsey, and she is not disabled. There's been a push, particularly in Hollywood, not so much in other countries, but definitely in Hollywood and in the States, that disabled characters should be played by people who are disabled. And there's something valid to be said for this. Usually it leads to more honest representation, more accurate representation. People being studios not putting their foot in their mouth because they do something that's offensive to the very population that they're striving to represent, and you hope give a voice to rather than use as a token of, oh, look, we did this diversity thing. So if Netflix is aiming to show and to mirror the progression that they showed as far as racial diversity, if they're wanting to show that as far as other underrepresented groups, aka those who have disabilities, then if they want to show that they actually are being progressive and thinking about this representation and what it means and the platform Netflix has, then I think it would make sense to recast Princess Emily. Now, I really thought about this for a while because I really like Honor Gnifsey. I think she does a great job embodying Princess Emily. She is one of the bright spots of all 3 of these films. And if she's in the 4th one, in all honesty, I'm sure she'd be a bright spot there. She's smart. She's witty. She's like that teenager that if you didn't like her, you might want to smack her. But even then you'd be like, yeah, but you're just a teen and you're going to be great when you get older. I've enjoyed watching this character age throughout the films. And yet I think that she should be recast. It's nothing against the actress, obviously. It's just that if you're going to have one character represent an entire underrepresented group, at least have an actress who can portray that character honestly. And no, Princess Emily is not defined by her disability, but the entire first film, it's something that they talk about, how she's the quote unquote poor little rich girl. And so they've made it sort of like that was the starting point of her character and she's grown out of that. But that does not mean that she isn't disabled. Like, you know, there's a lot of talk about how somebody who is disabled, you'll see them maybe like walk a few feet and then later you'll see them in a wheelchair. That doesn't mean that they're not disabled. It just means that they can sometimes walk without help. And they've been slowly moving Princess Emily more to using crutches and walking devices in the films, and you don't see her as much in her wheelchair. And I'm wondering if that's because Netflix is trying to move away of that imagery that Princess Emily is supposed to represent an entire underrepresented group, or if maybe it was just that the actress was uncomfortable being in a wheelchair when she is not disabled and maybe felt that she was, I don't want to say leaning too hard into the character, but maybe she was doing a bit too much. I'm not quite sure where those visual choices came from, because in the first film, she's in her wheelchair most of the time, but you can definitely see she uses it less through all of the films. And it does seem like it was a distinct choice on the part of Netflix to do that. The third film even ends with her standing on the stage. So what are they trying to say and where are they trying to go? I think that Princess Emily is a great Princess Emily is a great character. They've already established that she can't be in line for the throne, so she will be royalty, but she has to find something else to do. So her as a teenager figuring out where she wants to go as far as being a royal, as far as being somebody who is titled yet can never wear the crown. I could see that actually being a really interesting and fun story to watch. All of these are fairy tales, so who knows what she could do. But once again, should that fairy tale be brought to life by an actress who is not disabled? So, just a little food for thought about the Aldoviaverse. I know they're fantasy, I know they're fairy tales, but ultimately, representation is something that even in our fairy tales, we should be aware of. And I think Netflix is. All right, that's all the wonders that I have to share with you today. Let me know your thoughts about Princess Emily. Let me know where you think the story is going to go in a Christmas Prince 4. Too many titles, lords. Do you think it'll be more of Queen Amber and Prince Richard with their firstborn? Do you think it'll be Melissa and Simon adjusting to being a duke and a duchess? Do you perhaps think we'll travel to Panglia with King Tai and Queen Ming and see more of their world? Or do you think it'll be about Princess Emily? Let me know where you think the story is going to go. Tell me your thoughts on Princess Emily and Honor Knifsey. I would love to hear what you think. If you want to talk more, you can find me on Twitter at Tanagra, GGNOC. That's TANA, Geek Girl Nerd of Color. For all of you Android users, you can find us on Anchor and RadioPublic. And for all you iThings users, you can listen in on iTunes and Overcast. You can also listen to us on YouTube. I make a bunch of playlists on there, so I'm sure others do too. Leave us a message on some platform. Twitter is the best way if you want to talk, or just leave a comment on YouTube if you just want to, let your thoughts out in a monologue like I do. Maybe suggest a movie, suggest a show. Thanks for joining, make choices, and don't fall it up.